All right, I'm pressing live. We should be live. Classically on my channel, starting the live stream a minute after we probably should. Perfect. I'm I'm kind of realizing my audio may be a little quiet on OBS. May need to hit it with a wee bit of that gain, that sweet, sweet gain. I'll probably hit with like that much. All right. So maybe that improved the audio a little bit. Maybe. Don't know. Maybe I need to turn it down. Maybe that's way too much. I have no idea. We'll figure out eventually. No idea. It's been quite a while since I've live streamed on the channel, so I have no idea how many people will come to it. But yeah, so we've got the, as you were saying, D-dubs, we got the Flake all pretty much ready to go. I'm going to go over into the issues. We've got random background images used for sway idle. I like that idea. Need KB variant variable to configure Hyperland keyboards like the UK. Oh, I can go ahead and this has been fixed in a previous commit. Just comment and close that one out. I forgot about doing that. There are 2 checks for impermanence in options.nix. Yes. So let's go in here. Permanence equals true. And then down here, where is impermanence? Go back and make this impermanence syntax. Oh, yeah. Well, no.
By the way, your audio is good. Just good.
Cool. Syntax error. Why is that a syntax error? Oh. Well. Because we do need it to be down here so it can be used elsewhere. I don't know that wrapping it in quotes is going to be the right thing to do. But I am using impermanence and it's being set to true, so let's see if it works. Ah, I got you, Jerry. Let me drag you in. Let me also clear my notifications and turn on do not disturb so I don't litter the stream with stuff. Try to get your Flake up and running today. Yes. I don't know if you ran into issues at all, but yeah, there's been some work being done in the past little bit on it. There is like new instructions for it, for getting it installed and everything that's much simpler. Yeah, we're about to launch it, launch the stable branch that you'll be able to pull from, and the documentation. We're going to have to figure out how we do a split versioning documentation, for all of the different updates. Don't know how we're going to do that yet. But yeah, should be much easier to install. But you're probably going to run into issues right now just because of the impermanence stuff, because most people are not going to be using that, like where you're running your system from a temp FS. me and a couple of us in here in this Discord call are doing that. And in the Discord call, I've got Jerry and D-Dubs and Lale. They've been helping on different aspects of the Flake. Jerry and D-Dubs have been doing a lot of work on GitLab. Try again tomorrow. Sounds good. I mean, you could also try it tonight since you're already up and running. But yeah, we're gonna be doing a whole bunch of stuff. First things first, though, I want to get the impermanence option where you only got to set it once. And actually, you know what? Instead of doing all of this crap here with impermanence and the flake dir changing it, we're just going to make it like this. We're just going to set it here and we're just going to set it to there, save that, the hardware.next, go into my hardware configuration. And instead of doing all of that fancy crap, yeah.
Alex says there's no audio on the Discord server. Is that correct?
Oh, yes, I turned off. Yes, give me 1 sec. Did not even think about that. I muted the desktop audio. So now you boys, anytime you talk, it should be heard. Here we go. Sorry about that.
Thanks, Alex.
Oh, no, that's Matt from the Linux Cast.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wow. I didn't have my glasses on. Sorry, Matt.
That'll do it. Well, I mean, they both are moderators, so it can be pretty hard. You got to look out for 4 letters. So yeah,
exactly. But see, I like the scratch pad, so Matt will like me.
To answer your question, name last, I've been mainly just learning it through building out my own configuration and reading, like just looking up different things I want to do, reading up about how to do them, how to implement them. That's pretty much just how I've been learning. Now I've got an impermanence set up, which actually I've already got it set up here in the hardware.next /home usernames, NixOS. Map that to Nix persist etc NixOS NixOS. So yeah, like I don't even have to do anything special for the flake dir. What am I doing? Why am I making the options file more difficult than it needs to be? Just set the flake directory to your home because that's where you're going to probably have it anyway. You can always change it, and then just keep the impermanence option down here a boolean set to true, and then it's got the comment, this should be set to false unless you know what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it is a work in progress.
Hopefully people read that comment. Hopefully.
If you leave it on and you don't have a system that is set up for impermanence, then you will bork your Nix store. Speaking from experience.
Yes. Which I don't know why that happens. Because if you set impermanence to true, the only thing that should happen, well, maybe with the flake dir, no. I don't know.
I don't know. So my issue then was the Nix store being borked. My themes and all were completely messed up, and my user home directory was assigned to the owner root.
Oh yeah. There's a whole bunch of permission stuff. Yeah.
After every rebuild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt, somebody talked me into scratch pads, or at least checking them out. Explain them in the normal way. Not that you haven't, but explained them in a way I kind of got it. Now granted, did take them off and explain. Pretty much everyone I talked to about scratch pads, I upset, no matter what. But he has at least convinced me to give them a shot and set them up and see it. But we'll do that in the development branch here soon. Yeah, we're adding. Thanks, man, for all the kind words, Raphael. We're hopefully going to get it where we have some more like Waybar themes. We'll get scratch pads going on. We'll start adding on more stuff here soon. But git commit for right now. I need to.
Well, additionally, even if you don't necessarily enable a specific feature or plugin, the fact that you've got the Hypermanager plugin already in, so if someone wants to add it, it's a much easier process than getting it all configured. The same will be true for Piperland. You'll have it, configured, and you just need them to modify a configuration. That's a great advantage. Same with Flatpak, same with the NFS options you've added, same with the terminals, all of that.
Is Matt on the call? If so, no, Matt is not on the call, but he could be. Matt, if you want to join the lobby, I'll drag you in. Since, I mean, if you're about to be running the Flake, I'm sure there's questions you might have that I could answer that would be useful for others. All right, so close out some of these issues. Music shortcut in hyperland.nix is not working. Yep, that doesn't work because I don't have that program installed anymore. We probably should change it for Spotify.
Oh, the Amora or something like that?
Yeah, the Ario.
Ario.
Yeah. Config, home, Hyperland.
Yeah.
I always get that confused. I always think I put it closer to the top level because I go to it so often, but no, I actually have set up a folder structure that makes sense and stuck to it. Normally don't do that. Let's see, Ario. Let's change that to Spotify.
What about the packages? I don't think you install it by default.
I think I do. Pretty sure.
Okay,
well, I'll check in a second.
Yeah, let me check.
Actually, I should check before I add this git commit.
That's what I was kind of suggesting, just to make sure you don't do another commit.
Yep.
For the packages.
cd into /nix persist. Oh, well, if I've already got that set up, I should be able to just cd into NixOS. Exactly. I'm such an idiot sometimes, dude. Let me just open up the options and I'll grep for it. Spotify. Yep, packages.nix.
Cool.
Spotify. Yep, it's in there.
Perfect.
I love that I could have just done that from my one NeoVim window.
It's pretty nice.
Fix music keybinding in Hyper. Git. All right.
Got a question on dual booting Nix with Windows 11 on separate SSDs. because somewhat easier to do it with Grub, but using System D, I'm not sure.
I got that to work once, but I don't remember how I did it.
New branch. Create from main. We're going to call this stable dash 1.0. Actually, if we want to do it with a capital S, we'll just do stable. Stable dash 1. Everyone think that's a good way to go? Sorry, man, I have not been paying attention to chat at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris, you've helped. I use Piperland for scratch pads. It's hard to get it set up on Nix because Pip is a pain in the ass. Well, I'm pretty sure like you can set up Piperland not too difficultly on Nix. Have to look into it, but we could probably get Piperland set up instead of doing it the way we're doing it, because we were actually talking about that earlier. But all of that would be done on the stable branch. Like right now, we're going to get this out because this is stable. The documentation we're going to improve against this branch for a little bit. And then once we start adding stuff on the main branch and doing all that stuff, we'll work on a separate, we'll copy over the wiki into like a kind of separate one. I don't know how we're going to do all that. Most of this kind of Git work is kind of new to me. So, especially the wiki aspect of it. I've never set up a wiki through GitLab or anything like that. And it's kind of different than I expected it to be. So.
Well, if there are major changes in future versions, what we can actually have is a wiki that has a 1.0 reference, and then it would have all of that underneath it, kind of in a hierarchical format, and then and whatever the version is that has a major change would be, let's say it was a 2.0, for example, then on the wiki you would click on 2.0 and get all the known problems and any of the changes, any things that made it different. That's a pretty common technique. Other things, we should probably do is, especially once the control center is running, is have a way to check the version. So it's easy for people to say, what version am I on?
Yeah.
Things like that. Little things like that. It'll come in time. Yeah,
I have no idea how long it takes for packages to show up once you put them, like once you merge them in. I have no idea. But how are you doing, Red?
Show up in Nix packages after merging it. It depends on the channel we are talking about. If it's Nix packages small, then it's around 2 days, but the standard Nix packages unstable, for example, takes about 4 days.
There you go. Dual booting is always going to be a nightmare because Windows hates you having other bootloaders. It will literally attack bootload. Like it's actually malicious against bootloaders. It will go out and it will seek and destroy like other bootloaders.
Not only bootloaders. I've had Windows just deleting my Linux partitions. My root partitions just got nuked by Windows and reformatted with NTFS.
Nice. Beautiful.
Yeah.
What knew that's what you really wanted to do? It was just being helpful.
I have heard about Snowfall. Now, or
no, there's Snowfall too. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, Snowfall. I've heard of it. Right now, the only reason I'm not really too interested in it is I do actually want to learn all of this stuff about managing a flake and like doing things manually. So I don't know, anything that automates a lot of it, I'm not too interested in. Like we were talking about like NH earlier, and one of the reasons I would find that interesting is it doesn't really automate a lot of the process. It just gives you a better view of things that's going on. Like it kind
Definitely, yeah.
of makes interacting with things easier.
By the way, I think Snowflake and Snowfall have merged.
Yep.
Mm.
It did like a few months ago.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so let's create the branch. I haven't heard anyone complain about the name.
No,
So yeah,
I think it's good.
Perfectly fine.
I mean, you can get into the traditional sort of marketing dev speak of also naming them, as far as like I worked at a company where they named the each of the branches off of single malt Scottish scotches. Or I mean, there's people who call them by name versus number because they don't know what number it ultimately will be. But that's kind of like, it's all how you want to run it, how you want to manage it.
so we've got the stable branch created. Beautiful. And so we've also cleaned up a lot of the guide for it, for installing it. But now there's just the work that needs to come on the wiki.
Yeah, Reddy's in chat talking about there's a lot of people that say use the traditional NixOS configuration, not using flakes and stuff. I know you have some opinions on that.
Yeah. I mean, flakes are still experimental, but at least for me, I couldn't imagine going back to a standard NixOS configuration anymore. Flakes are just too good for me.
I agree. I believe they've been available for about 4 years. Isn't that correct? Something in that area.
Yeah. Something like that. 2020, 2021. Something. Oh, sometime around there, flakes got in there.
Yeah, Rafael, the Nix uses hard links, so a lot of times when you calculate using like DF or DU, it's seeing the links as the same file. So it's basically doubling up on it. So you have to be careful, because if what's in that, whatever is being linked to, is identical to something else, the links are the same. It's actually pointing to a single entry.
But Raphael is right. Nix can really be space hungry. Especially if you install a lot of packages via NixEnv, then it can take up a
of
huge
course.
amount of disk space.
Especially if you're in a dev environment and you need different versions of this, potentially the same library, even a different build of a library. Now, yes, you actually have to have multiple copies, and you can extend that into everything: Go, Python, GCC compilers, whatever it is, and all their associated requirements. Absolutely. But try to do that on a traditional Linux where I need those libraries. It's a lot harder to solve the dependency issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, Raphael, a lot of times what you do, there's a scheduled cleanup. Um, Tyler also has a script to really do that, what you're talking about, clean up everything from older generations to files and so forth. That it does a very thorough job, shall we say, of removing the old stuff.
The garbage collection.
The
Yeah.
garbage collection, right? Exactly. But he sets some flags, like for example, to remove all the generations except the current, the current one, for example, which is great if for what I do, and I'm testing, build, and I'll have 50 builds
Mm,
I don't need anymore.
yeah. And no, impermanence is a different thing.
Mm.
So what impermanence does is it basically lets you run your root partition as a tempfs. So the only directories that are really persistent are /boot and /nix. And yeah, okay.
Yes, that's new to me too. What about the home partition? That can also be permanent.
That can be persistent. It
Persistent,
will
thank
be
you.
in case of ZanyOS, it will be in /nix /persistence/home then.
Cool.
This term, let's see, the other one is Alacrity.
What is this? Inside a Nix file that would restore everything but personal files.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Kitty. And now we want Python.
Actually, I haven't heard about that script before.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. By the way, on the Python text, I wonder if you want to say enable Python dev and pycharm, because Python is still there. Because someone may think, well, I need Python. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Save that. And beautiful.
The other thing you might want to mention, Tyler, too, is you've actually themed and set many of the common parameters for like NeoVim, WesTerm, Alacrity, so forth.
Well, I mean, also too, I should actually do a video explaining all the stuff that I have available inside of like my NeoVim configuration, because like, I mean, I've got a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, for one, like you can like grep through all of the, like, if I was searching for like where's my SDL video driver, like where am I setting that? I can grep through all the files and find them, having it with space S, space F. If I leave, you'll have to wait for a second because there's another key binding FF. So it waits to make sure that's not what you want. Then you get you do have an actual like nerd tree, or in this case it's Neo tree, obviously, but you've got that. Space FF lets you find any files in the directory you're working in. Like, I mean, I've got a lot of the key bindings that like make sense now, and I think mod TF will show you the top folder if you want.
Yeah. And yes, Reddy, the prompt is from Starship.
Tyler, I just noticed you forgot about the clock for 24-hour option in the wiki.
That's right. Well, because that one was added after I got beyond that section. Same with the simple bar option, which I'm not even gonna mention it in the options for right now, since this is kind of the stable one, and it's got in here, do not enable. So like it's just a broken Waybar configuration that I'm like working on. So we'll keep that one out of there. Just leave it not addressed. You shouldn't change it. It says literally don't enable it.
You could say that. You could have a comment up there that says, way out there, don't configure.
Clock 24-hour edit. Where is it above? So it's underneath terminal. Clock 24-hour. Enable the time for different utilities to be presented. 24 format. Bada bing, bada boom. Right.
Perfect.
We also need to add into the sidebar. Or excuse me. Well, no, we'll slide it down here in the sidebar.
Yeah, we actually, Tyler and I talked to a gentleman from Tasmania who runs his basically entire config in RAM. What was he using, Tyler? You remember, like 30 or more gig of RAM?
Yeah.
Everything was temp FS.
Yeah. I mean, I'm using all of my stuff in TempFS, but I don't have like, a lot of stuff stored on my computer. Like I've got a very basic music directory. I've got all my pictures, which again is not a ton of pictures. I've got all of my important documents, which aren't big. And then everything else is kind of stored on my big external drive that I need. So it's not that big. I'm literally using less than 6 gigs. So
Right now.
Yeah. But that's with all my programs loaded up and everything, so it's fine. Like Vimjoyer has a video on impermanence, but I followed another guy's video and his blog post, and it's very nice and very simple.
Yeah.
I can share it. I can share the links to it. Give me 1 second. If you're interested in impermanence.
I can post the link of the blog post.
Hello, I wanted to.
Well, I don't know that I've made you an admin in YouTube. Post that there, and then the link to his blog post.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No problem, man. It's phenomenal. Like, you can watch that video, do it. I don't think I had to change many things. I mean, if you're doing an NVMe system, all of the variables that he exports, change them and like set them yourself, like export them all manually, set them yourself. And I think there's one command that you can't run because it tries to like set the variables for you based off of you setting the top level device variable. You can't run that. Like, just set your drive name, your disk name, and then all of the partition like variables, export those out, so you don't have to type out dev NVMe whatever all the time, and then go through the rest of the copy and paste blog post the same you would no matter what. You'll end up with an encrypted encrypted impermanent system, and your swap will also be encrypted. So very good. Could not recommend it enough. I dropped my like on the thing, and I was going to comment, but then I got my impermanent system set up, and I didn't. It took me a while to get everything set up so I could log into YouTube. So I haven't written a comment, but here you go. I'll shout them out in a live stream, and then I'll go back. I'll probably rewatch it eventually. Leave a comment, do all that. I'm not gonna lie, you're gonna run into issues. Just know that. Just don't get upset that you run into issues. Like there will definitely be, like, you'll reboot and then programs won't have, the configuration. Like, you logged into them, they'll log you out. You'll have to figure out where your cached, like, settings and stuff get saved and add that to be, inside of the impermanence. But inside of his video, not the blog post, inside of the video, he shows you his impermanent settings, and you can also look at mine to see how I'm, like, backing up folders and keeping folders. Which also check out my hardware.nix to see how I'm doing some stuff, because I've edited my hardware.nix for some, like, bindings for certain folders. So yeah, most of the issues that you're going to run into are just ensuring you've got your old shit being kept around that you want, like, being signed into an application. I don't know how the workflow changed from NixOS to Arch. The only difference is like when you want to test out packages, you run a command like normal. When you actually want to change the base configuration, you write that in files. That's pretty much the only difference. I mean, the syntax for the files is obviously different than running a program, but that's about it. Do a new page. Call this new page. Installation guide. Actually, instead of doing that, let's go to GitLab. README in markdown format. I'll look at chat here in just one sec. Nope, I want the install section.
Yeah, the Linux from Work guys has done some very nice work. Steve on the Ralba. He's got a nice Qtile set up as well.
And what we're going to do, setting options is just here, settings, setting dash options. So let's go back to how to install Flake, edit this, and for the options here, make this a link to setting dash options.
There's also nothing to be sorry about, Raphael. We're all learning. I almost just got into Nix for, it's only been a couple of months now. since I met Tyler and Jerry and Al and all the guys.
Well, I mean, it's not like I've been using NixOS for a really long time either.
Yeah. Well, Reddy F has said he's been using it for over a year.
Oh shit! All right.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm using NixOS basically since full-time since April, but I really got started with Flakes and all kinds of stuff in like October. So I ran a standard NixOS configuration for a very long time before finally deciding to give Flakes a shot with some help.
Yeah, so for everybody in chat, if you would, I would love to field some questions. If you're not already using my Flake or giving it a shot, go look at the wiki. Go look at the repo. It should be in the description, but I can also post it in chat. And let me know if you are looking at it. You're trying to find different files or anything, and you're not sure what something is, what something's doing. Please ask. Like, tell me to explain something for you. If there's anything that isn't making sense or something that I should probably explain.
And Raphael, companies are using it, especially in development, quality assurance. There was recently a video I watched from the VP of Canonical who uses it. So it's the fact that most people haven't heard of it. It actually has been around for, I think, almost 20 years, or not 20 years, or something like that.
The Linux distribution on its own is there since like 2013, and yeah, I know what you mean. So I know a few companies in my country that are also using NixOS on their servers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So hold on, guys. I want to spend a second to answer someone's, or not to answer someone's comment, but so Fez made the statement. Seems like a developer would catch on to Nix quicker. Yes, that is a true statement because a developer is probably someone who knows programming languages or at least the syntax of a few normally. And Nix is a programming language, and NixOS is just a distribution configured with that. So you're actually building your system like you would a binary, which allows you to do a whole bunch of different things with it. Like for me, just really quick, I'll also get into the second part of your comment, and I'll use this file as an example to explain some things. But inside of NixOS, you also, like, some of the things that you're able to do is, like, I have scripts or that are actually written in the Nix programming language. So just this as an example, I can have scripts that are ensuring they get the right specific version of a package that I have installed. Because again, with Nix, you can do a lot of cool things like having multiple versions of a program installed at once, and then multiple different, like, modified versions of the same package at the same version on the system. So you can do a wild amount of stuff with this. But I can have a bash script that's actually written in Nix and then parsed into a bash script, which allows me to define variables in other Nix files for the global configuration, and then use them in scripts that are generated in configuration files. So there's a ton that you can do with it, and a developer who is familiar with programming is obviously going to pick this up quicker and be able to do more things with it quicker. That doesn't mean that you can't use it, but yeah, obviously they're going to be able to take a little bit more of advantage of things. But if we go back to my services file here, when you're talking about the, brackets and stuff messing you up, kind of one of the things that makes it a lot easier in figuring out how the syntax works is, so one thing that'll mess you up a lot is periods, and then these equals and brackets and having everything in here. Like if you go and like, let's say I go to the Nix search where you have the packages and NixOS options. If I search for portal.enable, I'm going to get it here. But in here, I've got equals and then enable. So dot is like a shorthand for wrapping something in that equals and then those curly brackets. So that's a shorthand for doing it. But the reason you might choose to do it this long way is because if you're going to set up something else in there with it, you don't want, instead of having two lines with it in there, you can have a grouping. Say, hey, like everything that I want to set up for the portal option is in here. Everything I want to set up for Pipewire is in here, instead of doing services.pipewire.enable, services.pipewire.also.enable, like, all the way down. So it's just a different way of syntax. And then the curly brackets versus the actual just regular brackets is, curly brackets is, you can think of it as instead of just a regular array, it's separate options being installed. It's a grouping, and then it's technically still an array, but it's just a different type of array. But the actual regular brackets is a literal array. It's an array of certain things, which in this case, here, it's this array of packages for portals. Yeah. Hopefully that explains some things. I'm still not the best. Like, I'm not a great teacher. I'm also not the most learned of people when it comes to Nix, but I know enough to be dangerous. So. Don't worry, man. I got you. Yeah, when it comes to Nix, the documentation is very much not incredible. It's not, excuse me, it's not as terrible as we might make it out to be, but it's just very hard to find stuff. And as most developer written documentation can be, it's not written explaining out the syntax of the language very well. It defines the language, but that doesn't mean the little bits and bobs of syntax you're necessarily going to understand. And that's one of the reasons why I've chosen to put a lot of if statements and stuff inside of my config, because for one, you'll learn how to write if statements in Nix, and also you'll learn the operators like and for and, or the or two pipe symbols for an or statement, if else. Like, I mean, if you go through my config, you'll learn a lot of the basics of Nix just by installing it and then looking through the config files and seeing how options are set. You'll learn a lot. And if you guys want me to, I'll sit here and explain the lets for files. I'll have to find a file that has a let in it, which actually Hyperland obviously has one. So I can explain all of this up here if you guys want me to. I'd be totally fine with that.
One sec, Tyler. Check the chat.
Oh, I know. Now I can't read his super chat because I clicked on another comment. The thing won't go away. There we go. Oh, thank you, Nate. Thank you, man.
Also,
your former editor. You're not my former editor. You are my editor. I'm just the worst person to edit for, because you don't get anything. And it's not because you're doing a bad job. It's because the person who's supposed to be sending you things to edit is terrible at it.
Also, Colin had a comment and a question about if you just enable Hyperland, do you then create the Flake? And my thought is create the Flake to actually not only enable Hyperland, but actually configure it like you've done in your environment. It's a lot easier that way, I think. Like going into configuration and just enabling Hyperland.
Awesome. Okay. Just being familiar with NixOS concept makes me totally understand the structure of your files. Awesome. That's one thing I worked on a lot, is a lot of freaking flakes and like people's NixOS configurations out there. The actual file structure makes no sense. Like you have no idea where files are coming from, where files are being imported at, and like where to, like this file's being imported here, but like where in the heck is it in the folder structure? So yeah, I tried to make sure that didn't happen with mine. So I have no idea I was about to. If I boot NixOS for the first time and add Hyperland to my list of packages installed for my user under configuration.nix, naturally, I now want to create my config Hyperland configuration. Now, do I now create my Flake? No. So a Flake is something totally different. If you look, so when you search, so when you're installing applications on Nix, again, this is why a lot of Nix users will tell you it's really hard to talk about it like a regular Linux distro, because it is completely different than other ones. For normally, if you want to install the package, you would just install the package. That's it. The package gets installed. That's it. Not here. First off, you probably, for any new package, you probably want to have this search page for packages in NixOS options bookmarked. I normally just have packages. I do have a script. If I press the right key binding, and I was still pressing the wrong key binding. For me, it's Mod Shift W. Don't keep pressing S like me. That won't work. But yeah, I have this unstable packages here. And so like I can select it and search for anything, and it's going to take me to the NixOS search page and search for it. But when you search for a package, let's say like Hyperland, you'll see it's here. But for programs that you're installing with NixOS, there might be a module for not just installing it, but also configuring it available. So click the NixOS and you'll see here it does. You can enable it, then you can enable X Wayland, and it has packages, all of this stuff. So you probably want to enable it through here, because this is going to give you the portal and all the other extra necessities of Hyperland installed, where you're not having to go through and list out, I want this portal installed. I need the GTK portal as a backup, blah, 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 blah. You don't have to do all of that in Nix. You just enable it here. And then if you're using Home Manager has extra options for you. So I'll go to Home Manager, and you'll see I've already got the Appendix A down here. I've got it actually bookmarked, Home Manager config. I'll copy this page and put it down in here. So once you start using Home Manager to configure all of your options, you'll probably want to have this page bookmarked, so you can do Control F for the page and search. So let's go to Hyperland. So you'll see in here, like on my system, I have the Hyperland NixOS configuration options enabled and set up. So Hyperland gets installed for the system, but then I also have it enabled for the specific user for Home Manager. And I also here have an option for extra config. So my Hyperland is being not just installed on the system and set up with all the different dependencies it needs, it's also being enabled for the user with the settings set up. And I can also define extra things in here, like plugins, and it uses the built-in Hyperland plugin manager to be able to load in plugins. And then I have the extra config here. And because this extra config is inside of Nix and lets me write the Hyperland config file from here, I can do some really cool things like concatenate strings and then have different options in here set based off whether or not you're running in, inside of a VM, or if you're running inside of or if you have an NVIDIA GPU, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's what makes NixOS really freaking cool. So definitely keep a lookout whenever you're installing any program that's going to require some extra configuration on your part. Check to make sure there's not already a NixOS module for it or a home manager module for it, assuming you're using that, which you probably do. There's a reason why most NixOS users are using it. So yeah, but sorry. But yeah. I got out of bed, so my hair looks crazy. I don't even give a crap at all. I slept in. I had a very weird day today. Slept for way too long. But yeah. I can install Hyperland in my Flake itself, if I understood that right. Well, when you install NixOS, you're not just using it. Like, flakes are an optional feature. You don't have to be using Flake. A flake has nothing to do at all with your configuration, because you can do that with NixOS. You can configure the system yourself. You can configure home manager without using flakes. Flakes are an added feature of NixOS. All a flake does is allow you to use a Git repo to store all of your configuration files in, and a flake will not let you build the flake without having all of those files inside of it, inside of the Git. Like, they have to be committed to the Git repo for it to work. They have to be tracked files for it to work. And that keeps you from building out a configuration that you're not going to be able to redeploy somewhere because of some file that you've added as a dependency of the configuration isn't in there or isn't upstream, in your repo. So that's an added benefit of Flake. And also, when a Flake builds, it goes out and tracks the specific commit, the specific version of the package that you pull from your branch and install. So it creates this lock file, flake.lock, that you see in my config. And so that's why when you install my Flake, you probably don't need to run an update, like, at all. Like the flake-update command, you probably don't need to do that because you're getting exactly what I have installed on my system. Exactly. That lock file pulls exactly the versions of the package that I had on my system when I built it onto your system from the unstable branch. So that's another advantage of flakes. I can give you my flake, and 5 years down the line, if you still haven't, gone to the URL and pulled down the flake, you can do it 5 years from then, pull down that flake, run it, and you won't have any problems because it's going to go to the unstable branch, but go back in history and pull down those exact commits for the packages I was running, if that makes any sense.
So if the flag.log doesn't get updated for the next 5 years, then in 5 years you will still get NixOS 24.05 with the commit from 2024-01-29.
Yep. So it makes having a reliable, stable system that you share with other people really reliable and stable.
Better. Yeah. That's why developers use it. That's why quality assurance people use it. That's why all kinds of places use it for the reproducibility and the reliability. And what you also did mention, Tyler, was some of the problems you've solved using your Flake and the config options, like the poll kit, all the portals, all those things that if you had just gone and enabled Hyperland, wouldn't have resolved. So that's another value that this project has too, is you're going to see those I don't want to call them fixes, but how to work with configurations.
Well, like Raphael commented, he's like, just imagine getting all of those settings with one line. That literally describes the hyperland.enable line. It like programs.hyperland.enable equals true. And that pulls in not just Hyperland, but your portal tree, like everything. Like now, granted, the portals might require extra configuration because portals are turds, but that's besides the point. It pulls down all this other stuff. And also you got to think about it like this. The home manager version also pulls in the plugin manager for you too. Like you don't have to do that. You can define extra plugins to use with it, but it sets up a plugin manager for you, like the built-in one. It's going to configure all of your settings for you there. Like really nice. But it does come with the slight caveat that you're going to be working in a programming language, which for a lot of people is a downside.
Amen to that.
I don't see it as a problem, but I get how people can see it like that if you're not interested.
Right, and those that have an interest now, you've got a template to kind of look at.
Mm-hmm.
It's also, and that's how I've been able to kind of begin to figure this out myself. I am not a programmer, but now it makes a lot more sense than it did before when I started.
Yes, like NixOS, like we were kind of talking about it earlier before I started live streaming, but there's a lot of use cases where NixOS makes a lot of sense, like a lot of sense. I definitely see a world where it ends up being used more and more, and it just keeps growing. Especially since there's already an atmosphere of growing the community around Nix. Like they have conferences already. They're extremely accepting. Like I cannot describe this to you enough. I have never in my life joined a community and started talking about it and like doing anything that I normally do and had them invite me to, like I've had members of this community invite me to conferences. I've had members invite me to like scheduled events to like talk, or not like give like a lecture talk, but like, talk with them, like schedule a call to talk. This is like a very active community that is very interested in picking up people who are either interested in promoting it, like using it, and are interested in like working on it, and even just maintain. Like if you just want to maintain packages for the system, like it's a very welcoming community. Like, yeah, like you're not going to get shamed because you only just want to manage 2 packages. Like if you want to do that, they're like, yes, please expand Nix packages. We'll take you on. Hope you're doing good today.
They're almost
I
as
love you,
welcoming as
man.
Arch.
Mm-hmm. What's up, Ben? Oh yeah, that's right. I saw your messages, Ben. I don't know why you're sending me. You can join the Discord. Like, if you left, you can just join. There's a link in the description.
Would you agree with me, Zany?
What? I didn't hear what you said.
Nix is almost as inviting as Arch.
No. That's not even a no. I would wholly disagree with that statement. That's not even accurate at all.
I wouldn't be sarcastic at all stating that either.
Well, I didn't get sarcasm when you said it, but yeah, no.
Jerry's shaking his head violently up and down. It's like,
well, I don't know. It depends on. Yeah, it would take you months to completely configure a system that I like, most likely. But that's because I do so much like weird stuff. Like, and I like writing my own scripts and stuff. So that would entail like you having to write your own scripts. You don't have to do that. Like, there's like a lot of the stuff that I do with Rofi scripting. There's Rofi packages that you could just install and have scripts for like all the stuff I'm doing. They might do it in a little bit different way, but yeah, like at the end of the day, it serves the same functionality. So it just
like your wall
depends.
setter script.
It just depends. Like, especially with NixOS, if you just wanted a KDE system and like 10 extra packages, and none of those packages need to be configured, they're like LibreOffice or whatever. Like, no, you're gonna have an easy time configuring that with NixOS. That's not going to be hard at all, because you would just add the options for those package or add those packages to your packages repo and maybe change one system setting about KDE, move on about your day. Like, just kind of depends. Now, if you want to configure a system and do something from scratch, yes, there's going to be a steep learning curve. Yes, because you're not just going to set those options. And that's also the hardest part about getting people over to NixOS. Like, if you thought about it from like a conversion standpoint, it's really hard to like get people to convert from configuring their programs with the normal files because, well, you're fine with the normal files. And yeah, that's true. Like, there's nothing wrong with just configuring your file in their syntax for that program and just putting it on your home. There's no problem with that, and you can do that with Nix. People think you can't, but you can. Like, there's no problem with doing it that way. Like, nothing's going to break.
Yeah,
It'll work the same way. But the reason you would go the home manager route is because I use like things like Nix colors. Like, there's ways of setting variables for things in Nix and then passing them in and having them parsed into those config files. So like with my theme changing script, you can change the theme of your system and it changes a variable in the Flake. That variable is used to determine what the color scheme is in Nix colors. And then that gets replicated. It uses that base 16 color scheme and replicates it over your GTK themes, your like your Alacrity config, your WesTerm config, Waybar, everything, Rofi, like just everything gets converted without having to go in and manually edit all of those files or add separate config files for all of those options. Like, yeah. Yes, that's what my sorry, Fez, took. I waited a long time to continue reading chat and talking, but yes, if you want to get a head start, just use my template. Use my config as a template. That's what it's literally built for. It's built to get, if you like what I use, you think what I use is cool or nice, you'll get it with this config.
Yeah, like
I mean, you'll even get
his.
all of my like OBS settings, like that transition, all of my scene layouts and everything for OBS are included in here. Like, you get everything. There's nothing you don't get with this config. It's pretty nice.
That's not true. You don't get my config.
That is true. That is true.
And yes, Arch, Nix is good without flakes.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. It was good to meet you, man. Have a good one. And
Take care.
Yeah. hopefully everyone is just having a good time, and the wiki, I can't remember where I'm going to need to update stuff, but edit page, my Flake controls where we're getting things. Okay. When you run a rebuild switch command with a Flake argument and give it this NixOS folder, it sources the flake.nix. That sources the system and Nix home, which all use the options.nix to set different configuration settings. Perfect. That. What is NixOS? I don't think I'll have to change anything here. Thank you, man. I'm working really hard on the docs, and like it is a struggle for me because I really want to make good documentation, but I am the worst at like editing something. Like I can write up something and give it to you in a good like layout, but then editing and like fine tuning it, making sure there's not tiny detail missed anywhere, like very specific fine tuned like editing things, I'm not good at. Um, like Matt's the one who's phenomenal at that, but at the same time, Matt is a extremely busy individual, and it would be disrespectful for me to even ask him to like look at this stuff. He's got way too much stuff going on already. So, and I don't really know of anyone else who would want to go through and edit it like a lot. I mean, you got D-Dubs and Jerry helping out, but I don't have someone who's just like their one solo thing is just editing it consistently.
Yeah, and I also am not the best at fine tuning documentation and stuff. I can give you the basic layout, but the fine tuning, yeah, I better let you do that.
What is nice though, when we do we best we can, and as we add things in, we remember to go back and do the docs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been in so many projects where like, yeah, we'll get to that, or we'll go hire somebody, and meanwhile it's out, and you've got almost nothing. So.
No. But I mean, at least now we've got the stable branch that people can choose.
Exactly.
But I guess we need to go through and maybe change the layout of the like. I don't know how you do wikis for different branches. Well, hold on. Let me just
I
text
don't
something.
know.
You can create a page that would be a 1.0 and everything under like what you have now would be there. And then you can copy that to a 1.1 or whatever the next branch is.
Yeah, so the wiki is like just hard tied to the main branch. Because
We'll
like
figure it out.
yeah.
We'll
Well,
figure it out.
we'll have like that. That'll have to be something that we figure out here very soon because I don't want to start
Yeah.
editing too much and just
Well,
do
except
exactly what you were just talking about and be like, well, I mean, we'll fix it eventually. So
also though, we could even have what we have now, which is the basics, and then again create a page for 1.0, 1.1. It would still be tied to the main branch, but
yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I guess we could do one thing where we just like edit all of the pages to have like dash like one it like 1.0 in them.
Yep.
And then yeah,
Mhm.
well, I mean, we could do it that way. That's
we'll
probably the
figure it.
best
Like I
way of
said,
going about it.
say
But we'll
we
work
will
on that
figure
later.
exactly. We'll figure it out.
Exactly.
I mean, you're not looking at another release for a little while, outside of some bug fixes or.
It's not like we will release a major update tomorrow, you know?
Well, you never know because I did it
Yeah,
yesterday and didn't tell anybody, and D-Dubs ended up wasting an hour, and like I made him look like
More
an
than
idiot. So yeah,
The guy who kept posting, it's like, this doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, here, edit this. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, my bad.
Hey,
I felt so embarrassed about that. That was so bad.
But to be fair, we were all distracted with the stuff
Yeah.
that happened on the Hyperland Discord.
What happened? Like,
oh yeah, that was crazy.
So has anything new happened over there? Like, did he fix it? Did he address it? Anything?
Yes, they got the bot back. The bot
Alright,
is
so
kind again and
he
not
did-
fully insane.
That was wild. So for anyone who doesn't know, so there hasn't been any real change to it. So, but for anyone who doesn't know, like yesterday, the Hyperland wiki, the like hyperbot inside of their help thing went banana. It was a disaster. Like it was the most amount of pings you've probably ever seen in your entire life. It was getting rate limited by Discord. People were posting memes like, the room's on fire. This is fine. And people started posting wild crap in there, like wild stuff. It was interesting. Yeah. And there were a lot of people who I guess have never used the internet before and understand when something's going horrifically wrong. Some people were making like statements like, I'm going to report this bot to Discord, or trying to tell this like clearly exploited feature that they're gonna like. It was really funny, and then the bot started like repeating their messages. It was great. It was great. It was probably the most captivating thing I've had happen in Discord in a while. Just mainly because of the sheer volume of it. It was insane. And a lot of the memes were actually pretty good. They started getting wild at one point where I was like, nah, but for a while, man, those memes were some good memes. So we've got the stable branch released. I need to what's the best way of when I switch over to stable, is it a different link? Yeah. Okay. So when you clone, how do you make sure you clone the stable branch though?
You just clone and then git switch stable dash 1.0.
Yeah, because that's the whole nice thing about cloning. You clone the project, and then you can switch branches. So, like,
You clone all branches,
Yeah.
main and stable.
So it's just git switch branch stable dash 1.0.
Just git switch stable 1.0.
Oh, it's just git switch. Okay. Yep.
I think
nope. Oh, well, if I spell it right. Nope. Still
capital S.
You might have to do git fetch real quick because you didn't do the branch with git, you know.
Yep. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, eventually you want your fixes then back in the main branch, so that when you branch it again, you get all the fixes. I mean, both.
Yeah. So we go here, and let's add that in. The readme. Git switch stable stable dash
1.0.
Boom. Done.
Now it's too late. I wanted to make you aware of a typo you did there. One nins. But now it's too late. I wanted to make you aware of a typo you did in the commit message.
Same thing. Running stable branch.
Well, that's how they talk in the South. Y'all running? We're
Yeah.
running the stable branch here, y'all. Don't you know?
This is true. This is true. This is how we all speak. Don't let anyone convince you we don't. They're
How?
lying.
We used to hear him talk from Maine.
Was that SWW in the background? Yes, I do use SWW.
With
If you
the
mean
perfect
on
wall setter script.
Yeah, no, this is just Wayland. This my config. I use Wayland Hyperland. That's it. We've talked about maybe doing like support for one other environment that's on X.
Maybe XFCE or
Yeah.
something small.
Yeah, but not too sure if that's going to be something that we work on in the near future.
I just don't understand because you want it to be complete. So to be themed the same, everything will work the same. It's not like, oh, I'm going to throw XFCE on there or Qtile and, take what you get.
Yeah, it has to be fully configured. It has to look really nice. It would have to be something that I would be happy using myself, which is going to take time. So, but yes, Fez, I'm also looking for suggestions. So, if you're looking through the files, you see anything that you want to suggest or you want explained, throw it at me. It goes for everyone in chat. There's anything going on about the project configuration that you don't understand, you want to explain, throw it in chat. If you've already done it before and I missed it, throw it in chat again, because sometimes I'm an idiot and don't see your chats. That happens. I am guilty as charged. On NixOS, it's still X11 by default. Why? Just because. I really don't know. That may be
I
what the
mean,
person
they.
who's building them
I
is
mean,
using.
they. If I remember correctly, they switched it back to X11 by default because they had some kind of issue with the Wayland session. But I've been using 5.27 on Wayland on NixOS. It works without any issues. So I don't know why it's still by default on X11. But who knows? Maybe starting from Plasma 6, it will become Wayland first.
That would maybe make it very obvious that the username and host name need to change. Well, they don't need to. You could leave them to what they are. Like you could use my username and my host name. I do have it specified down in here right after you're done, but this Flake's user will have the password be set for them as password. I do need to do this. So give me 1 second. Generate hash password NixOS or Nix make password in shop. Okay. So, oh nope, go back over here. So if I run this command and then give it a password, like let's say, give me them big knockers and run that, it will give me a hashed password right here. So you can take this and like if I copied this, go into the system.nix where we configure the user right here, you can put that where this hash password is and replace it for whatever you want to be your username's password. And I need to add this into the guide here. But by default, you do just get a password that will be set as password. So I think it was Jerry that had problems getting in and didn't know that the password was
Yep.
password.
A funny story how I managed to get around that. With the initial password and then
So Fez, also, I do explain it in the options section of the wiki why the Git like wallpaper or like the wallpapers directory in Git is set up the way that it is. I used to have the wallpapers in this directory, and that's kind of the reason it's as big as it is in general, is because it has the history of when those wallpapers were in here. But the wallpapers I have stored in a separate Git just in case I add more wallpapers in there that just start it making it start take up a lot of space. I don't want the actual configuration to be something that slows down or you have a problem with Git because of just the sheer size of the Flake itself. So to avoid that, the wallpapers are in their own repo that I have a script that you can give it any repo and it will pull that repo. And as long as that repo exists, it's going to pull it and it's going to create the folder if it doesn't already exist and put the repo there with all your wallpapers. It also, every time it starts up again, which is at login, it's going to check that repo. And if it's been updated, you do a git pull, or it's going to do a git pull no matter what. But if there's updates, you'll get those new files, those new wallpapers every time you log in. So it's kind of a nice system, and you can change the wallpaper directory to be wherever you want. Yeah. So let's go into the README and update it. I have this information. This Flake's user will have the passwords set for them as passwords. If you want to change it, run a command replacing password with if you want to change it, run a command replacing password with whatever you want to be your password, and then password. You then need to copy the output that it gives you, like below, into your hashed password in the system.nix file. To here. No, wait. You know what? Hold on. Let's just run it again. Password. Copy that. And paste it here, and nothing's coming. That's just awesome. Exactly what I wanted to happen.
I love when that happens.
password. And then it gives you, we'll just save this and go into the system.nix. Y, and go back into the README, and we will paste it here.
Okay.
Beautiful.
You having fun? I've been listening to you while I've been playing.
Oh, nice.
Done playing. Done playing now. Oh yeah.
You will.
You
You
might
do know
wanna
we're live
let-
streaming, right?
Yes, I do. That's
Okay.
why I muted the live stream.
Okay. I just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure. Just want to make sure.
No, I'm not-
I never know if you're going to just leave Generation Zero and be like, oh, cool, and then join. Just want to make sure.
I come in earlier and told you I loved you, but you didn't hear me.
Oh,
so
that
I
no,
didn't-
that is right. I did see you in chat. I remember that.
Yeah. Have you let people know that gaming in Nix is pretty good too?
No, that's a good point.
Because that's one of the questions you're going to get.
Definitely, yeah.
Wait, repeat that in just 1 second. All right. I just wanted to make sure I didn't forget to push that update up. What were you saying?
I was saying you need to let people know that you can game in Nix,
That is true.
and
This
the
is
game's
true.
pretty good.
Steam works
According
good.
to Arch, it's awesome.
It
And
is.
Arch can confirm this ahead of what I just said.
I can confirm too. So gaming on NixOS it just works.
And Arch Penguin uses an NVIDIA card too, so I need to make that point. I believe he plays on his NVIDIA card. I will pray to the heavens that Arch Penguin will answer that question.
So Stable doesn't have the README updates, but that's fine. I could just copy them over and put them in there. But since when you come to the main repo, you're going to be on main anyway, most people are going to read it here anyway, and then just follow the guide to switch it when you're installing, if you need to.
So you're
An idea I had
you're releasing a Flake package for Nix?
No, there's
Okay.
no Flake package, but
Okay.
The only thing I'm doing is I made a stable branch, so you don't have to worry about me like potentially doing updates that like aren't working on features that aren't documented or anything like that. Like if you go read the wiki, everything in the wiki pertains to the exact version that you're running on the stable branch. There's no weird options that could break something or whatever that you don't know about. Like, hold on, I do want to go check, make sure. I'm pretty sure I've got impermanence in here. I don't inside of the options. Okay, yeah, that needs to be edited. I believe it's under the shell.
So when you get me running Nix, that's when Armageddon happens?
Pretty much. I need impermanence and the SDL video driver.
Yeah, very warm. Every warm place just got cold.
I might test it on my laptop here in the next couple weeks.
Cool.
I don't even have the kernel added in here.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
that's a big one.
Oh,
Yeah, you might want the colonel. Maybe
Well,
even
yeah.
a general or a admiral or something like that.
Yeah. Well, you have to run the Zen kernel,
What is special about the Zen kernel?
It's very cool. It's very calm, very centered.
Oh, so it's
So
a
got
stable.
default latest LQX. LQX.
Zen mod and Zen.
Zen mod. And Zen.
Yeah, it's a newer kernel that has quite a bit of optimization in it. A
Yeah.
lot of people run it on their desktops and so forth.
Well, I know I can run it in Arco if I want, but I just never did mess with it.
It's good sometimes too, especially if you have newer hardware adapters and so forth. You're more likely to have in 6.7 than 6.1.
Zen helps a lot with VMs. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I started using the Zen kernel originally because I needed the IOMMU ACS override patches, and Zen has them built into it. And since then, I never looked back. I mean, why should I? It just works.
Very true.
If the kernel breaks, I'm gonna fix it.
Exactly.
It should be disabled / false for most of the All right. I want to make it very, very obvious that you should probably disable or make it false, because I know for a fact someone's going to go through this wiki and read through the options file and just not really care and go past it and not pay attention.
And block their next door by not paying attention.
Yes. So I'm going to try. So when they mess it up and they're going back through and paying attention like very, very closely, they'll see this and be like, "Oh, wait, how'd I miss that?" Because I know I would do it too. So try to make it stand out the best I can, but Lord knows we're all not paying attention all the time.
Were you there when our other friend in common was looking at it and just started editing some of the Nix files? Oh, I don't need this. I don't need this. And
oh yeah.
We're like, dude, will you look at it first?
Yeah.
That was hilarious. Oh, I don't need Kitty. I don't need
just
this.
like nuke the file. Like, no.
No.
I mean, yes. I guess we could add a disclaimer somewhere. Like, don't just nuke files that you like for configs you don't want. Like, they're probably integrated into the system in a way that like is gonna throw errors when you remove them. Are you on stable or unstable? Unstable. You can see that in not the lock file, the flake.nix. I'm using unstable and the master branch for home manager. So, yeah.
You actually don't need to specify master in the home manager URL.
I know.
If you leave it at home manager, it automatically gets the master branch.
Yeah. I don't even think I have to specify unstable if I If I just give it the main Nix packages URL, it should just go completely unstable.
Then you get upstream. So the master
never mind.
branch
Never
of
mind.
Nix packages.
Yeah, never mind. There is a difference. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to me. There's a difference.
That's what I did for 3 or 4 weeks. If you set it to upstream, have fun compiling literally everything.
Nice.
Well, it's a Gen 2 release.
Yeah,
Should impermanence be turned on true by default? It is turned on true by default because this is my configuration and I am using it. So that's why it's defaulted to true. Just innate, like there's a lot of settings in there that you don't necessarily have to change, but there are some that you do. So the editing the options, that is a step in the installation guide. That's a step. Like you can't just skip it. You have to go edit that file. And impermanence is one of those options that for most new users, yeah, turn that off. And it states that inside of the doc. It states that literally right next to the option inside of the options.nix, and it also states it inside of the wiki. So, yeah. But that's why. Impermanence is because I run my system in RAM. So, like if you see up here, like my drive is saying that it's only 21.5 gigabytes. I have 64 gigabytes of RAM. I've set my tempfs to default its size to 35% of that. So right now, even though I'm only using up half a gig in my configuration and like root system, it's got 21 gigs. So that's where it's reading that from. And then all total with OBS going, the stream going, my browser, Discord, I'm taking up 10% of RAM. So, or 6.5 gigabytes. And again, that's going to be bigger because, a lot of my files are loaded into RAM as well. So Waybar is fantastic. I love Waybar. Waybar is phenomenal.
Harry loves it too. Oh, he stepped away.
Don't pay attention to my CPU, Yeah, I'm so pleased with these old Xeon CPUs. They're so good. So good. Like I'm running on a $55 CPU. This is great. Yeah. Waybar is actually pretty nice to configure. We could go through and do that. Because I have been working on Waybar. We've got some options like for simple bar here. So I've been adding a new Waybar theme. If I go over here into issues, where is it? Nope, that's not it. It's in merge requests. Add a new minimalism Waybar theme. I can't import this dude's in because it just didn't work with the way I had it configured, and I want to configure it. But here's how the theme actually will end up looking. So we still got the start menu, but we'll have the workspaces be just numbered. CPU, RAM. He's using the old configuration, which has that colon there next to the thing, so that won't be there. Speed, alacrity, idle inhibitor, theme switcher, notifications, pulse audio, clock. So it's essentially the same like kind of Waybar, but just the theme is transparent and much more simple. So
I would probably add a tiny bit of blur in the bar.
hey Colin, if you have that, if you will zip it up and go to WeTransfer, there's an option like just I just want to send files or like whatever like download thing. You can use anything like WeTransfer to send files. But if you want to send that clip to me, I'll post it to the channel if it'll help out other people. So yeah, if you want to send me that clip, that would be awesome. You can send it to me on Discord. If you don't have Discord, you can email it to me. Don't matter. Don't check my email that often. So if any of you guys have sent me emails, this is a great chance to tell me to check my freaking email. Because I'm like literally the worst person. I won't check my email for like a month. I'm horrible.
Same here.
But there's a reason why I point you guys to like Discord or like even like YouTube or like Mastodon or something. I'm more likely to check my Mastodon account than I am my email. I only have a USB 2.0. I'm burning a huge SI, so it takes forever. Yeah. Well, I am looking into how to get the config to be like with a default configuration, be a live ISO. So like I can get the NVIDIA option as an ISO, the like regular AMD to be an ISO, VM ISO, like do that. So for anybody who just wants to install it from the configured environment and can do so. But that requires a whole bunch of testing and like, I mean, I don't really know. At that point, it's like kind of like it's a distro and I've gone too far with the meme. Like, I don't know. Like, that causes a lot of like...
It basically ends up the same way like DTOS.
Exactly. And like, and people are like actually looking for like... Distro. Yeah. Like, look, I'm totally fine with providing support and helping you, but like the whole purpose of everything is getting you a configuration that you want with like from mine as a basis. Like it's not about like literally adding every single configuration into it. Like I want to add like all this stuff as optional that like I use because that makes sense. Like not everybody wants Kdenlive. Not everyone wants Blender. Not everyone wants all the Python crap. So like it makes sense to turn some of that stuff on and off. And
yeah, not everybody wants Z Shell, but Z Shell is very popular. And,
exactly.
You know, and it's even configured. That's the nice thing. It's not just here's Z Shell, go fun. It's well configured.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, again, getting back to your NeoVim, your NeoVim is well configured right out of the, you know, as soon as you run the system.
Printer is well configured.
Yes, and scanner.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I can attest to that. So I do want to add that managed printing application too. I forgot to put that in.
I think I added it.
The actual application?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. I'm pretty sure I added that in.
Okay.
Pretty sure. Let me check.
I did the merge request.
Okay.
It was a program dot.
What was the program called again? It was like system, like or like config dash.
Oh yes,
like,
yes. System printer config. Yes.
System
hyphen.
Yep. System hyphen config hyphen printer dot enable equals true is in there.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a nice little GUI because it manages both your printer, but it also, if it detects your scanner, it's there as well. When it popped up, I was like, "Hey!"
That's nice. Dude, I like it.
Well, because before that, I was using the scan image CLI.
Actually, why was I doing it there? I could have just searched. It should be in here. Well, I don't know what it would be called.
Printer.
Nope. Do you have the printer option enabled?
Oh yeah, never mind.
Yeah. How good are we, huh? If you guys ever wondered what goes on in a development, This is it.
Well,
Yeah.
look, I have become a true programmer at this point. I have not showered. I slept in today. Um, I I released some stuff, and now I'm going to act like it's been a horrific day that I've worked, and I've been just drained by the amount of stuff I've had to do. So I think I'm going to go have to grab a drink, just to get through this. I'll probably need something with a ton of caffeine, like, coffee in the true programmer style. I think my mom's got some 2 times caffeine out there, so I can fuel up for the rest of the day. What should we start working on for the rest of the day? I could just go ahead and finish up this Waybar config, but
I was
I
going to
feel like we were
suggest
talking
that.
about better stuff earlier.
No, I think the Waybar would be a good one.
Waybar.
Yeah, to finish up the symbol.
Maybe an H. That's a small thing.
Mm.
It's like one environment variable and one Nix package to be added. Yep. If you do the --ask flag, then it will ask you if you want to apply it. And if you say no, the reword will just be discarded. That's pretty cool.
Oh, so it just requires a session variable called Flake, and we just pass it in the Flake dir.
Yeah. That's how I did it when I implemented NH into my fork.
Oh, easy peasy. Okay.
Environment session variables Flake equals in quotes $ curly bracket Flake dir curly bracket. That's it.
Okay.
Is everybody listening got that? There's going to be a test later.
And then
This is true.
I have it memorized
Awesome.
in the cobweb parts of my brain.
and then add the Nix package to packages.nix. I would recommend using the Nix package instead of the Flake. Already told you why.
Probably need to fix this tooltip as well, but we'll worry about that at some other point. At least it's working. We got a nice calendar there. But anywho's, let's see.
Was that from what I sent you? The calendar?
Yeah.
Cool.
But I just can't do the new line in it for some.
Yeah.
Like, I've got to figure out how I can do that where it'll work, because it's getting parsed. I think I have to do like two or three apostrophes in front of it or something like that. But I just removed it for now to get it to work, and I mean it works. It's just not rendering right, but it's fine.
Yeah, that's why I was curious if you'd used that I found.
Yeah.
Cool.
Scritch is going over your code right now. She's sitting at the screen watching it and looking at it.
Oh, good.
Good.
Yep.
Need all the help we can get.
Well, if she touches something, I'm going to tell you what it is, and if she finds something wrong, I'm going to freak out. She'll sometimes smack the screen, not just because the mouse is moving.
All right, so we're gonna here. Let's see. Slick bars tree. That sets it to this. Else. If I do another one.
He just walked away mumbling, "This isn't Arco."
How should I do this? So I don't think I can do an else if. Don't
What
think
are you
that's an
trying to do?
actual thing.
What are you trying to do?
A else if statement.
Okay.
If simple are equal to true, then can I? Will it let me? I guess I can. Guess so. Let's
So
test.
what you're using checks what you're doing
Mhm.
in real time. That's pretty good. That's dirty building.
I mean, it's working, so that's good.
I mean, what does dirty building mean?
It's not dirty building. It's saying warning, get tree is dirty. And
Okay.
that's because every time you make changes to your configuration and rebuild, it's going to warn you and tell you, hey, you haven't committed those changes. So your tree, your get tree is dirty. Like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, you've got changes that haven't been committed upstream. So if it works and everything, I need to sit here and go get commit so it's not dirty. So that way, like if you pull down these changes, you'll get them. Like otherwise,
Okay.
our two configurations are different. So it's dirty.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh my gosh.
Now, is the idle inhibitor, is that a thing that is useful to Matt, or is that just a laptop thing? You know how Matt wants to make sure his screens go into sleep mode,
Uh-huh.
or does the idle inhibitor keep your system from going into sleep mode?
Well, your screen, your system's not going to go into sleep mode. I don't have anything set up for suspending the system or doing anything like that. I have sway idle, which will turn off the screens. I have that and sway lock set up. So sway lock locks the screen.
Right.
So you'll have to enter
Right.
a password to log back in. So it just turns off your screens and locks the system after a certain time. That idle inhibitor just keeps that from happening. That's it. Let's see. What did he have done in here for his theming? So all of them just got changed to having. Oh wait, background transparent, and the color being that. That's pretty much it. Everything else can change, can stay what they are. So. Don't work on any of those. All that the same. Just down here. Just add this all the way down through here for all the widgets for this new simple bar option. Boom. But we do need to set the margin and padding for it, I guess. I don't guess we really need padding. Hmm. Put the margin in for it, since that probably is going to make a difference. All right. Then for the workspaces, here workspaces. Pretty much just taking copy this, paste this down here. We're going to take our color, keep that, background, transparent, border, radius 0, border bottom, remove that. And then button.
You must have did something wrong because she come running up here and jumped up on the desk, just turning her head left and right, looking. And
Make it 3.
All right, guys. I'm gonna head to bed now. Have
Take
to
care.
get up in almost 4 hours.
Cool. This is
Sleep well,
awesome
my friend.
fun.
Talk to
Have
you
a good
tomorrow.
one.
You too.
See ya. Go down here to the button active. Paste this. The only thing we should need to change is the opacity to 1.0. And go down here to button hover. Paste that.
You're making
And-
it the same as all your other opacities.
Yep. Well, close to the same. The first one's actually a little bit lower, but yeah.
Okay.
Save that. Then go into options.nix. Go down here into our simple bar, and we'll set this to true. Slick bar, like this here. If simple bar is equal to true, then uh, then true, else false. Dang it. Undefined variable simple bar. Oh wait, hold on. Oh, you. This needs to go above impermanence. Oh wait. Do it like this. No. I don't know. Trying to think, because we want to be able to change the Waybar theme.
We can't just say Waybar equals and then the name of the theme.
Yeah, I mean we could and then read it that way.
And then you
And
could
set
actually
these
just,
options.
yeah, and you could have a comment like you do with like Gigavolt for the theme, but you could have a comment saying, available Waybars are simple, slick, default. I wonder if you want to do something like that for the terminal, because down you have the default of Alacrity, but unless they go down to the file, they're not going to see that there's also Wes term and Kitty are available as choices.
Simple bar, slick bar, default. We don't even have to specify default because it'll fall back to that no matter what.
Exactly.
So if Waybar style, if Waybar style is equal to true, then if Waybar style equals simple bar. Wait, what am I doing? Slick bar. Then true, else false. So let's go up here. Set it to slick bar. And then just go here and set simple bar. Just because we need to have it defined. So that's
Yes.
Save that. I don't want to go back into just to check for stuff into our Waybar file. Slick bar, simple bar, yep. And both the other Waybar styles use that, so it only needs to change. So down here, it's going to check for slick bar first. And if that's not true, it should fall all the way down here. Now let's see if we end up with a simple bar config. If we have any problems. Don't mind what I'm saying. I have no idea what I'm saying. Oh, why am I in top chat? Live chat. What the heck? Okay. All right. Come on, come on, come on. Rebuild the system. You can do it. Yes. Beautiful. So nothing really changed. So
Cool.
that's good.
Like.
So now let's set simple bar. Oh wait, hold on. So that's getting set properly. So let's copy this, change this to simple bar, delete that line, and then if Waybar equals simple bar, then true, else it's false. Like that. Yes, please do ask questions. Oh wait, color scheme dot colors is used. Oh, yeah, that's right. Because I copied. I think I copied some of that, so I'll have to grep for it. but it's okay. I mean, it'll still work.
Exactly.
So. Now, to get it to actually render. Oh, kill all Waybar. Now, if I load up Waybar, there we go. The simple bar theme is working.
Sweet. It looks better with a dark background too.
Yes, it does. But
do you want to consider actually putting a dark background on there and as a permanent setting?
I mean, that would require me editing the wall setter script to recognize whether or not that's running.
Hold
on, we could do it.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, because the wall setter is what determines the wallpaper. So
right, but if you set the background of the Waybar to a solid color, it's just always going to be that solid color, and then the wallpaper is going to cycle through.
Oh, so you're not talking about setting a dark wallpaper when this is set.
No.
You're just setting changes to just have a dark background.
Right. Because remember when we both...
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, because we both liked the other Waybar when Jerry had a solid, almost black background because it just filled in the gaps and it looked really sharp. It popped. Because in a light color background, this simple taskbar kind of fades.
Hold on. Background, instead of having it be transparent, we just make it be the exact same. I didn't even realize we were setting the RGBA there for slick bar. Yeah. Interesting. We just copy it here. Should work.
Could have asked chat if they agree. Get a vote. Oh, the other thing I realized you didn't show was the theme switcher. One of the most amazing features you built.
This is true. This is true. Let me now run Waybar and see how it looks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Much better.
Yeah. And now if you swap the wallpaper, it shouldn't matter.
So let me do Waybar and disown. The LCD back into NixOS. But now let me go ahead and the options, build it with just the regular one. Let me make sure everything's working there. And that's not the password. That is. I do like the simple bar. That is pretty nice, actually.
It's, yeah. I mean,
it's a little cluttered at the ends, but yeah, works.
A little, yeah. but it's small and it can be adjusted too, which is nice. But you've got a lot going on too.
Yes, there's no denying that.
Yeah, but I like it. I mean, and again, it's fairly easy. If somebody doesn't want the network or something, the counter, the upload, download, they're
Beautiful. Everything's working.
Yep.
All right.
Now, the only thing the simple bar doesn't have that these other ones do is the color.
Yeah. Well, and that's what the dude wanted with the simple bar was like really nothing special. He didn't even want a background with it. So
yeah, no, I get it.
But I think it makes sense to have a background. Like that way, it always stays readable with no matter what wallpaper you throw at it. So good. Added a new Waybar theme.
Right, and to be clear, that's not in stable.
Yes. No.
Unless you plan on backporting it.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I could though. I could switch over to stable, and if I pushed that change to stable,
yeah, you could do that.
I could push this towards. Towards main,
which it has to be anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, and then if I rolled back, that would also bring all of the slight README changes that I made. So yeah, that's actually a good idea. I probably will do that. Let's git commit -am add new Waybar theme improvements theme and move comments in README or in options.next to right places. Git push. Okay, then git switch stable 1.0. Your branch is up to date with stable. Oh, so all of the changes I had in my README aren't there? Or what?
You checked out stable. Yeah, because you're on stable now. You've been on stable. I just realized that.
No, I was on main.
No?
I was on
you're
main.
right. You're right. I see it. No, you're right. You're right.
So hold on, let me switch over to stable. The README, yep. I mean, it doesn't have all that stuff, so. Yeah. So it's obviously. You know what? It might actually be easier for me to just delete this other branch.
And then just make a new one.
Yeah, and just remerge it.
Probably.
So edit. Where is the branches page? I can't remember how I fork. When I clicked fork, no. It just reloads the page. Thank you. Branches. There it is. Branches. Stable. Delete branch. Yes, delete branch. New branch. Stable -1. 0.0, create branch. Create from main. There we go. Beautiful.
Excellent.
All right.
Yeah, I'll start testing that tomorrow.
And that way it doesn't have the like do not enable feature.
Mm-hmm.
All that bull crap.
Well, that, and I think this, like I say, the simple bar or maybe a modification of the simple bar is going to be very popular. Like I say, maybe add a little color or something.
Yeah. Well, you'll get. I mean, to be honest, the simple bar versus the default really isn't all that different. It's just one has color, and the actual like widgets have a little bit of background on them.
Mm,
Like, kind of makes the widgets just easier to differentiate from the bar.
exactly.
I mean, to each their own, man.
Oh, did under terminal, I'd suggested earlier maybe listing the available terminals to set as default.
Wait, what?
Where it says terminal equals alacrity, where you're setting the default terminal.
Uh-huh.
A person going through this isn't going to know that other options are WesTerm and
That's true.
Kitty until they get down to the bottom.
Options include a kitty. Here we go. Yeah. Man, we getting up there in commits, brother.
Awesome.
Well, hopefully you have a good time with the config. If there's anything that you need help with, you don't understand in the wiki or anything like that, just let me know.
Make sure you enable UEFI.
Yes. Probably
You had that.
before doing too much, you might want to read the comment and problems page in the wiki, which the first thing that's addressed in there is not using UFI. If you don't use
Yep.
UFI, you're probably going to have a bad time. So
Yeah, at the moment, no secure boot.
yeah. But yeah, I think we'll probably go ahead and end the live stream here, unless there's any questions or anything that somebody wants answered, anything like that. But I'm probably, I don't know, probably going to go get a snack, get up, walk around, and sit down and probably address some other things, but I really don't know what we're going to work on other than I know I do want to get an install or like the configuration center work. I want to start working on that.
What's your question?
Oh, yeah.
Well, my man has a question.
Now that you made Waybar an if statement, should terminal be an if statement to keep with the theme? Giving you more work.
Terminal preference is people like what they like,
Well, the reason we probably won't do that for that one is people also like to have multiple different terminals installed.
Mm-hmm.
So,
like me.
Yeah.
I actually had another one, so that's okay.
How do I set SDL for older games? Oh, very easy. Inside the options.nix file, you'll see SDL video driver. You'll either set it to X11 or Wayland. SDL renderer. Well, I don't know about the renderer. I don't know if you set that with the. As far as I know, the SDL video driver setting that to X11 will make it work with old, like any old games. That's what I've always just needed to set to have games working properly inside of Wayland.
Yeah, for example, I have to set mine to Wayland because one of the games that I run is Doom. If it's set to X11, it will not run at all.
Fez, I believe the wiki states this, but we'll go check here in a second if it doesn't, but I'll go ahead and explain it. The reason the terminal is getting set in like multiple different places is because down here you're installing different terminals, and up here you're stating here the terminal value is the actual the terminal you want to run with the terminal key binding. So when I do mod enter, I load up whatever terminal is specified here. So
maybe
you can. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I should say maybe then adding a comment to this is set to the default terminal.
Well, that is in the wiki, but
yeah, but people are going to go here a lot.
Well, then how about this? Instead of this options include Alacrity config, this sets the terminal that is used by the Hyperland terminal key binding. That's what it should be.
And then options include.
Well, no, because there is no options include. Because theoretically, you could just go to the packages and add a totally different thing and then just set it here. So we'll just leave it there.
Okay. Because like I say, someone reading it won't realize it until they go down to the bottom.
Well, again, if you set this to Kitty and down, or just for example, if you set it to Kitty and then you go down here and you don't enable Kitty because you're like, well, I set it up there, I don't need to set it here, it's going to break. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think it makes more sense to just comment that out. And that's as far as I know, that's what the wiki says, but git commit am make option for terminal key binding or explained. Git push. There we go. But who reads the wiki? Yes,
He's
that's
not-
half
he's
the
not
that's
wrong.
half the problem.
That's why I like the comments in the code.
Yes, there is an argument made for that, but I don't
That's okay.
I don't know. I don't think in a lot of these cases commenting out the options file because you expect people not to read the wiki is a bad idea. Like I wouldn't say that's idiot proofing. I would say like that's like general public proofing. Like most people, like when it comes to like, all right, let's say I give you an instruction manual for how to build a really nice desk. The odds, it doesn't matter that you spent $800 on this desk and it's pretty complex. The odds that the first thing you do is read that instruction manual is like 0. Like, so, you know,
Right, but I hate to say it, but you're making my point.
well, again, I don't know that that's necessarily idiot proofing. Just most people
No,
aren't going to read it.
I did not say that. I never used that term.
That's true. That's true.
No,
Chat used that term.
The only reason that I say that is we've already had that where our common friend went and just jumped into the code. Other people are just jumping into it, and having to explain it. That's will be what the tell is when you start getting questions about this or that, you'll say, okay, we just need to to put it in there or not. Like I
Well, I
said,
mean, like one thing that like we'll never be able to like really solve is just there's going to be a lot of people who come in and are doing like what that guy did, where he just starts deleting files that he just doesn't want like
Right.
programs for.
right. Yeah.
There's
I mean,
nothing I can do to protect
exactly.
from that.
Yes. Yeah. There's an expression for that too. Can't fix it.
But all right, boys, I think we're going to go ahead and call this a day on this stream. It's been almost a 3-hour stream, so that's pretty good. But yeah, we got the stable release out. We've improved the stable release, at least just documentation wise. But yeah. So
Thank you, everyone.
let's see. I just want to make sure because I think we may have to work on the options.nix again because now that I'm thinking about it, I think we have to change the Waybar style. I think we have to add that in here, but it's all right. We'll do that eventually.
Great, Fez. Like I
Alright.
say, come online. One of us is usually around a lot. If you have any questions.
Yep. And normally, D-Dubs is well informed. Sometimes I mess him up, but normally,
Only once so far.
so far, just knock on wood, man. All right, y'all. But yeah, hope everyone has a good one, and we'll see you later. Boy.
Take care, everybody. Thank you. Have a good night.
And